Hey, how's it going out there today, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great day out there in trucking world. I'm getting loaded up right now. We're going back to Minnesota, but I want to do a weekly recap video real quick for the past week. This should have been a 5-day week, and it would actually been a decent week on a 5-day week, but it spilled over into yesterday, which cost me to have to get this load loaded today. So instead of getting this load on Monday, I'm getting this load on Tuesday. So I'm going to count this past week as a 6-day week to show you the realities of not every week is a great week. Some week is just, I felt like this past week, even like up till yesterday, it was like a salmon going upstream all day. I mean, everything was just a hurdle and a struggle. And sometimes you have them super silky weeks that make 10 grand and you feel like you didn't do hardly anything for it. And then other weeks you have those, you got to chase every dollar down like you dropped them and they're blowing away in the wind. You know what I mean? You got to run after them and stomp on them. And it's just, it's not all gravy train. So let's get to it. Let's talk about this week and what happened. All right, first load was I got emptied out in Atlanta at the end of last week. Last load I finished up in Atlanta. Headed up to Tennessee. I think I did a video. I'm pretty sure I did a video. Yeah, the backhaul video on that load. You can check that out in a previous video. But just to recap it for those of you that don't want to go back and watch that whole video, headed from Atlanta up to Nashville area. Grabbed a load going to Minnesota. $1,800 load. Did not pay great. It was like $1.51 all miles. It was paying like $1.94 loaded miles. So that is what it is. That was not a great load. It was a backhaul. Yeah, it is what it is. Next load I took out was a load that I really like. I loved getting these loads from Minnesota down to North Carolina. I'll know from now on not to pick them up on a Friday though, because they don't unload live unload on a Sunday. So you gotta wait till you gotta be there early Saturday. I know that. Like if I picked them up on Thursday, and as long as you haul butt and you get there before 2:30, 3 o'clock on a Friday or Saturday, on Saturday they will unload you, but don't count on it on Sunday. So I had to sit there till Monday morning. They took forever to unload it. But I still like these loads. I still like them. Not going to complain about them. Because, this little turn here is what got me through the early part of the COVID when freight was like super low. I would grab that customer load from there down to North Carolina. Come up here to Norfolk, get these beverage loads that they're beating the heck out of my trailer loading right now. And, shoot it straight back to Minnesota. So, it's a nice little turn. It's, I'm going to say ballpark. I think it's like, it's probably ballpark like 2,800 to 3,000 miles. I don't know. I'd have to go back and do the numbers on it. But it's not a super great run, but it's definitely, it's like $2 a mile to the carrier. So it bust out to me at like $1.60. Let me tell you, when the COVID was killing everybody back in like April, this is all I did for the entire month of April. Is every week I would grab a load down and a load back, and that was my week. And I did that for like 4 or 5 weeks in a row. I saved my tail during COVID. So I don't mind doing these runs because I feel like, every now and again, like even right now when spot market's killing it, you got to service these like contract deals, because, and I don't mind doing them. They're still profitable, but I know a lot of guys turn them down right now because, they're like, oh, I could be doing spot market stuff and making more money. But I kind of look at it like, if we would take turns doing it, it would be here, when we need it. So, man, they're rough on that trailer here though. Killing me. But anyway, so that's what I've been doing this week. I've been just taking care of this so we can keep this. I don't want to lose this because, back when COVID was killing everybody wanted them. But I used to call and kind of jump line a little bit, the guy in the office that manages this little run here, as soon as I would get this picked up, I would be calling him. I'd be like, hey, what about that load out of Minnesota back to North Carolina when I get there? And, you know, he was like, hey, you know, you're the first one to call about it, so I'll put you on it. And I was like, nice, you know. So that's what you got to do sometimes, you know. It's maybe not the most profitable, but that's how contract freight works. Contract freight is steady and it works. And, you know, spot market, you can ride the roller coaster. And, you know, boy, it's fun when it's up here, but when it's down here, you know, and it's maybe not so much fun. So, anyway, this load here, let me run over it real quick. I've done a ton of these. If you guys watch me regularly, you're probably familiar with these. This was a really good one because the weight varies on these. This one was 22,000 pounds. It's 28 degrees start and stop, so it doesn't use a whole lot of reefer. It's about 1,400 miles from where I was at, the deadhead down to get it. 70-mile deadhead, not a lot of deadhead. 1,330 loaded miles. Not a bad run. It pays $3,500 for that, so it's like $250 a mile to the carrier. It's $2 a mile to the truck. I use $420 in diesel on this one. I use $29 in reefer. I use $13 in DEF fluid. $36 in tolls to enjoy that beautiful West Virginia Turnpike. Boy, it's such a privilege to ride on that road. So anyway, that puts my variable cost at $498 on this load, and you take the $2,800 minus the $498, the $2,800 to the truck minus the $498 variable, and you're looking at $2,302 is what I get to do what I got to do with. So that wraps up that load. Let's talk about the week now in totality. $5,300 total revenue this week. Like I said, not a banger. That backhaul load was not great. It was not good. That drug down this good load that I put with it. Yeah. So I like putting the load that I'm doing now with that other one because they kind of commingle a little better. But whatever. 5,300 total revenue for the week. 2,590 total miles. That's 331 deadhead. That's 2259 loaded. That is 12.7% deadhead, which most of that came from that backhaul deadheading from Atlanta up to Nashville area to get that load. So yeah, it's what it is. 5,300 total revenue, 2,590 total miles. That's 204 all miles to the truck. That is $1.64 a mile to the, excuse me, 204 to the carrier. I don't know if, I think I said to the truck. 204 to the carrier, $1.64 to the truck. I'd much rather be way up there, like, you know, I like $2 a mile to the truck. It's kind of my goal. I like seeing that 2 at the beginning. It's kind of a mental thing. So $1.64 to the truck is a pretty good drop. It is what it is. One bad load, you know, can drag down your whole week, especially when you only do 2 loads. So, yeah. So the way that works out, I spent $835 this week on diesel. I spent $123 on reefer. And if you go back and watch that video on that backhaul load, most of that reefer got spent over there on that load. I had $94 in reefer on that load because even though it was a shorter load, it was 928 loaded miles. They loaded it at 20 degrees, and they wanted it ran at 0. So the shipper wanted 20, and the broker and the receiver wanted 0. So, you know, when you're trying to pull down a 40,000 pound load, 20 degrees of meat, it takes everything the reefer's got to do it. By the time I got to the receiver, it was at 0, but it took a couple cool nights, especially that last night in Wisconsin was really cool. That's the only reason it got down there, I believe. But yeah, that was rough on reefer doing that. So pretty good amount on reefer, 123 on reefer, $30 on DEF fluid for the week. Yeah, it's kind of average. $42 in tolls. I had 1 Illinois toll, and the rest of that was the Jersey Turnpike, the West Virginia Turnpike, for $36. So 42 total tolls on that. Variable cost $1,030. You subtract that from the $5,300 to the carrier, which puts $4,240 revenue to the truck minus the $1,030. That leaves me $3,110 to do what I got to do with. It's kind of a mediocre week, I'll be honest with you. It's a pretty mediocre week, but it is what it is. You got to do it sometimes. Sometimes it's, sometimes it's actually work and a struggle to make a profit out here. It's not all glamour and glitz. I don't know if it's ever glamour and glitz, to be honest with you, but it's work. And we made a profit this week, and that's what matters, turning profits. Like I said, it's a 6-day week. Technically, whatever I run today, it's kind of a short week. So maybe that in comparison gives you an idea, But anyway, guys, that's it for the weekly recap. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Be sure to hit that share, like, and subscribe button if you could for me. If you haven't already, share it out to all your friends. And later, take care of each other.